So Security Breach's Ruin DLC came out recently, and since I have such a strong hatred for the base game, I needed to play it. I really wanted something that could make me actually like the game. And from the stuff I'd heard about it, I expected really good things. But this DLC is not what I thought it would be. And if you haven't seen my video on Security Breach, long story short, I hated it. I loathed it. It made my life worse. And if you think I'm being dramatic, go watch the video, because I'm not. Okay, maybe a little bit, but it did suck as a game. And many of you guys have been waiting to hear my opinion on Ruin, but it has taken me quite a long time to do this because the DLC is long. I'd say the average DLC is around 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours long. It took me around 5 and 6 hours to beat this game over the stretch of 4 streams. This DLC is something. It fixes a lot of the problems that the base game had, while also adding so many more confusing elements, so many more questions, so many more problems. It's not great, but it's not terrible. I'd say it's perfectly mid, like the very textbook definition of mid. Does it have a textbook definition? I'm not entirely sure. I had some stuff I really liked, and some stuff I did not like at all. So I'm gonna go through the entire game to fully review my thoughts on it. So let's get ready for the metaverse, annoying children, and men that I locked in my basement. Also, I stream this all live at twitch.tv/morglive. This game starts out with our human vessel, Cassie, going into the Pizzaplex Mall to try and find her supposed friend, Gregory, whom was the human vessel of the base game. We grab a flashlight from a staff bot, some spooky stuff happens, we follow Greg's voice to a walkie-talkie where he tells us to find him under Roxy Raceway. An elevator almost smacks us. Foreshadowing. We fall into a kitchen where we meet Ruined Chica for the first time. She doesn't really do anything here except grab us and then just stand there. A little strange. Cassie then picks up a Faz wrench. Or a taser.
A Faz wrench?
Oh.
It's just like my
wrench.
dad's.
Oh, great lore. I hate.
Where is Freddy Fazbolts if I don't see?
I don't really know what I was expecting. I'm playing a FNAF game. Then we come across the first real task. Charging a conduit thing? Listen, this thing is much harder than you think. Especially when you were me and you were stupid. We walk into a room full of things. It's definitely not full of electricity, and I definitely won't die on impact. I'm in the water! Did I just die? Hello?
My head.
Bro, I have like at least 20 broken bones by now. I've fallen like 3
I better
times.
find a way out before it comes back.
Mapbot, who is now Maskbot, hands us a Vanny mask filled with suspicious amount of wires. And when you put on the mask, you go into Vanny, the virtual augmented neural network integration unit. You meet a little bear, Helpy. Call me Helpy. You're a very original named creature. I'm gonna call you Joe. You can always count on me because it's my job to help you succeed in your new job. Okay, Joe, thanks. Joe tells us about the mask that for some reason lets us walk through walls? Listen, I know the story is about possessed animatronics and AI gone wrong, but I just find it hard to suspend my belief. Imagine if someone actually did that in real life. So you continue to go through halls with the mask on, while also deactivating the caution bots for some reason, which I later found out opens a secret room with a secret in it, but I don't like secrets, so I didn't do it. Not because I was too lazy, but because I don't like when games hide things from me. Next, we encounter our first security camera unit and find out that Ruined Monty is on the prowl. Also, Ruined Monty is incredibly terrifying to me. I really don't like him crawling. It freaks me out. In the cameras, you can use the intercom to lead the animatronics in a certain direction. The voice used in the intercom is Cassie's, then Joe informs us that he created it using samples of her voice. Foreshadowing again! And then for some reason, I wasted like 6 minutes playing the golf game, which my chat was very happy about. He's watching me play. Well, you're wasting my chat space. You travel through Gator Golf, taking off and on the mask to get through objects, and Gregory tells us we need to turn off the security nodes, first starting with the child nodes, then finishing with the parent node. It took me a while to figure out what exactly I was supposed to be doing, mostly because of the very vague instructions I would get from Greg and Joe, but also because when they did instruct me on what to do, I just wouldn't listen. Then suddenly, an unknown entity jump scares you.
Rations in the Pizzaplex.
Turn off.
Morg is gonna start screaming.
It's sending out some sort of distress signal and Monty is responding.
and we find out that the VR network has been hijacked. This whole bunny mechanic thing, when he shows up, you just put on the mask and then he disappears. It's honestly not that difficult to get through. So once you deactivate the parent nodes, a door opens. The door! It's open! Okay. Sorry, I got really scared. Then we travel to the security office where you do more nodes. And this is basically the entire game. Like, there are other little things that they add into here, but just deactivating the child ones and then the parent ones and then completing that, basically that's all you need to do in this entire game. Just 10 times over. In the next area, we learned how to detect anomalies in the cameras and deactivate them. To make walls go away? We walk into the daycare and Moon harasses us, but light from her flashlight makes him run away. And wow, this is a really cool mechanic that they will use in the rest of this segment, right? No. Then Sun comes out and tells us we need to reboot him to be whole again, and he has some sort of Gollum Smeagol type issue that we need to fix. Like in the main game, we turn on the generators in the playground, but something seems different this time. Okay, so we got the playground, the generators, and Moon. Moon is just standing there? This is probably the most underwhelming part of this game, and there really isn't much of a threat, except for the bunny PNG that appears sometimes. But you can just take the mask off and he disappears. Which is totally disappointing, because in the main game, this segment with Moon and Sun was one of my favorite areas to go through. But it's really disappointing to just have no real enemies in this part. I feel like there should have been, like, using the flashlight to fight off Moon while you're trying to find the generators would have been really cool. So you detect the anomalies in the right order, walls open up so you can find the generators, and it really feels like Moon should be chasing you right now. It felt so lackluster. And once you turn the generators on, you reboot Sun and Moon and they turn into Eclipse. And I can't help but blush whenever Eclipse is on screen. It's just something about him.
Come back soon
I love Eclipse.
and have a fast-terrific day.
I will!
Birthday.
I love him! That was great! That was amazing! Ew. Also, why does he have teeth? We then travel outside the daycare into the endo section. This segment is a lot more threatening, having to put on the mask to avoid the endos, but then getting harassed by the glitch freak, taking the mask off and staring at the endos to keep them from murdering you. It makes for much more interesting gameplay. In the daycare theater, you detect more anomalies, quarantine them, enter a big endoskeleton's mouth. Vor. Ew. And then, let's see what happens if I... Oh! Wait, yeah, that is what I'm supposed to do. I'm so smart!
I'm stuck!
Okay, what are we gonna fall upon next? Yeah, I literally called it. Fall upon. Yeah. That's like the 6th time you fell today. We're now in the ride in Monty Gator Golf, where we see the story of Montgomery Gator. He grew up in the swamps playing his square guitar thing. He really looked up to the Glamrocks, which includes Bonnie, which is kinda suspicious when you think about he practically ended up replacing him. And most people by now realize that Monty probably killed Bonnie. We fall off the ride, another fall for the list, and land on the catwalks above Monty Gator Golf. Now the catwalks, for some reason, made me want to crush my spine into a ball and eat it. It might be the confusing layout, my stupidity, or the slippery floors, but I just had the worst time playing this. It took me a while to figure out that I needed to use the guns to shoot the targets in the sky, and I just kept getting confused and lost, and with my friends Blackstar and Lumpy in the call, it just felt like I was stuck in purgatory, with only the hope of escape keeping me going. It was at this point that I realized they implemented the autosave feature. Now this was like receiving the holy grail. Having sporadic save stations in the main game sucked. It sucked balls. But now, I don't have to run 3 miles away to save the game, and now, the only thing stopping me is my own stupidity. Then... this way more? Okay, yeah, there it is. Slippy! No! Big fan of grass.
I'd feast on Mr. Beast. I'd nibble on his ears. I'd chew on his face.
What?
I don't even know what to say! I don't want to give Beast a nibble. Also,
I would
welcome,
give
Half
the
Mouse.
Beast.
Once you deactivate the parent node, doors open up and you hop back into a Gator vehicle, which takes you straight through those doors and into a kitchen thing? You do more of those kind of annoying Faz Wrench bar puzzle things, which honestly makes me wish they had different types of little puzzles like that, because I like the concept of having to do different types of tasks to open doors or do different things, mostly because I kind of got sick of this one. Then you crawl through a little opening and fall into a huge room where we see Chica get jumped off. We then fall, again, by the hand or whisk of a giant cupcake.
Scary.
What?
I don't like it.
The cupcake with eyes has lore.
No way,
Need
he's
to
actually
see it.
William F.
Chica is now prowling the grounds and we must avoid her.
It makes me sing.
What is hanging out at me? What was that? What was that? Using the intercom, we lead Chica through some doors, then fall again into another room. I'm not entirely sure what this room is for. Cupcakes? Food? I don't care. For some reason, the mask disables sometimes, and you have to enable it using these blue light sticks. I'm not sure why they exist or why they're in the mall, but I'm also not sure why Cassie didn't immediately call the police when she thought Gregory was in danger. So the logic in this universe is obviously pretty flawed. You do more child nodes than the parent one, then have intense arguments about trivial subjects. Gee willikers. It's my new catchphrase, I think.
No,
What do you mean, no?
you're not allowed.
What do you... Why?
Only I can have catchphrases.
You own every single one.
Yep.
What about balls in my mouth? Balls in my mouth. I want balls in my mouth always. That's your catchphrase. You just said everything is your catchphrase,
Okay,
so
well,
that's
I
your
don't own that
catchphase.
catchphrase.
Yeah, you do. You said you own every catchphrase. You own that. You say that all the time.
I put it up
You
for a
can't.
job.
After deactivating the parent node, you run off through a corridor to the metaverse? Oh, it's just the Upper East server room.
Gah.
Feel it would be best if you remained in the Vanny network for the time being. You're a freak, Joe.
Joe? Who's Joe?
The little bear that shows up in my head. Where the
Read the
heck
leaf
am
line.
I? Is this all virtual reality right now, or am I just like actually in like a huge basement? Like, am I in hell? Is this hell? I'm not entirely sure where Cassie is supposed to be in the game's reality, or whether or not I'm in a huge room in the mall. But in this room, you quarantine some more anomalies to exit the grasp of the JPEG rabbit nerd. And now we are in Roxy Raceway. We stumble upon a crying Roxy, who then hears Gregory's voice and runs away to chase him down.
You think Lightning McQueen's penis is circumcised?
Cassie, I'm okay. I found a spot to hide.
What are you guys talking about? I'm like playing the game and you guys are just
Ew.
speaking to me. This is the start of our supposed sympathy for Roxy, and Roxy's ignorance of Cassie and her hatred of Gregory. You go through Roxy Raceway, continuing the pattern of disabling the nodes. Also, Chica is here for some reason. Also, there is lore in the form of cardboard cutouts that litter this area, which I had no clue about until I finished playing the game. Literally,
hello, sir.
who's she? Who? I'd like to be surrounded by rock. My main problem in this section was getting lost again. Because this area took an embarrassing long time to get through, I was told that Markiplier struggled getting through this game too, so either we are both too smart for this really dumb children's game, or we are both really stupid. Also, there's a point in this section where you can find Chica on the floor in the bathroom, which if you happen to wander in another bathroom, stumble upon an arcade game, and beat it and receive Chica's voice box, this would be the point where you give it to her. But obviously, I did not do that. So when I went up to Chica, I just died. Next, you walk into a room with a cutout of Foxy on it. This is probably very lore related, so I'm not going anywhere near that. Next, we walk towards a log ride? Mustard. Oh, is there a log ride? Oh, please tell me there's a log ride that I can ride. Oh, I hear water, please! I want a log ride! Log ride?
I don't
Log
hear
ride?
anything.
Log ride?
Please.
Log ride?
No, sadly not.
No? No log ride? But why do I see a track? Log ride? There has to be a log ride. It's for Puppy? Who's That's Puppy. Oh no, not a log ride. Just is not a log ride. This is not a log ride. Where's my log ride I signed up for? I actually really enjoyed this segment where Monty's in the water and we have to jump from object to object, even falling in the water sometimes, which makes him come closer to us. One critique that I would say would have added to the horror aspect and made it a little harder was if we weren't able to see Monty so clearly in the water. I wish it was even murkier and we'd have to rely more on audio cues than we already did. But other than that, this section had me thoroughly frightened. I'm still pissed about the lack of a log ride. Guys, if this game had a log ride in it, that would make my opinion of it change drastically. At the end, you use your Fazwatch to turn on the electricity, which electrocutes Monty in the water. You go through more corridors and happen upon the raceway, and we have to use the intercom to use Roxy to break a door. And what I found weird is how in the main game, Roxy can hear our footsteps and chase us down, but in the DLC, she doesn't hear a thing, and she only listens to Gregory's voice, which makes me believe she isn't a wild animatronic wanting to kill everything, but Gregory has wronged her. I know he's taken her eyes out of her sockets, but she was chasing him before he did that. So did he like kill her robot family, kick her robot dog, spit in her food? Do they eat food? I know Chick eats pizza, but I don't know about Roxy. There's probably some stupid lore explanation like Vanny wiring the animatronics just to chase Gregory down. But I'd rather believe that the animatronics just have a hatred for this delinquent child. And I agree with him, because I don't like Gregory either. Next, a car attempts to murder you, and this is pretty much the scariest thing in the entire DLC. That was attempted murder! Then you go through another conduit-powered door, and as soon as we open it, Roxy does something very strange.
Give me back my eye!
Ah! Let go! Let go!
Let us go kill the Gregory child. 8.
Huh? Sorry? This is more proof that Roxy just wants revenge for Gregory taking her eyes, and probably other various crimes that Greg has committed. So now we are in Roxy Racers, and Greg confirms to us that he is in a sinkhole under the raceway. Joe informs us that the area is under security lockdown and we have to shut down even more nodes. If you go down some corridors, you get to Bonnie Bowl. In this segment, as you're trying to deactivate the nodes, you get chased by little music men while leading packs of them away from the nodes using sound intercoms. For some reason, I completely forgot how to use this strategy and just struggled with this segment for a bit, and I did really enjoy how they looked like a bunch of little ants when they were all together in a pack, or colony, or murder. I did bring up a pretty intriguing question about these creatures. Why do these exist? Why, like, what purpose in the actual mall? Like, this is a mall. Why are these existing? But after searching it up, apparently these mini music men were prototypes for toys that were taken over by Glitchtrap. I mean, I guess that makes sense. But in what world is this a toy? This looks like a torture device. I also really like how in the villain's wiki, it says it's an evildoer. If I ever get a wiki page, can I please be described as an evildoer? This level was just me having to run in circles trying to get the little dudes off my trail. But one cool thing about this level that I wasn't able to experience is the secret that I had mentioned earlier. So if you deactivate all of the wet floor signs, with the final one being in this Bonnie Bowl segment, a door opens, leading you to an absolute crime scene. Glamrock Bonnie, surrounded by wet floor robots covered in cracks. This is a super cool addition to this game. And everyone has been theorizing why there was no Bonnie in the Pizzaplex, but this pretty much confirms it. Foul play has been involved. And when you deactivate the signs around his body, his eyes go from glowing to stagnant, showing that his soul has finally been put to rest. So, not a terrible level. It just felt a lot longer than the other areas. But the secret crime scene is definitely a plus. Another question I have. What are the energy columns that let you wear your mask again? They're not even in the virtual reality, they are in the real world. So who put these there? And have they always been there to put on the Vanny mask? How long has it been since the security breach game? Why are there areas where you can't put on your mask? Why do they look like this? Who made them? Why am I even in here anyways? Why didn't I call the cops? Once you complete the node, you continue through Bonnie Bowl, and you even see Bonnie's old dressing room, which I completely did not realize while I was playing. I don't even think I would have cared. I was so tired of this game, and I just wanted it to be over. You go through the poster which Freddy has written on it, and that I would only describe as very gay. The vent takes you to Phaser Blast, you deactivate another node, and I'm getting pretty sick of these things. Then you see Glamrock Freddy, or what was Glamrock Freddy. He is completely corroded, and dirty, and ruined! He's also missing his head, so there's that. And I'm pretty sure that's referencing one of the endings to Security Breach where Gregory carries Freddy's head in a duffel bag and leaves, and it pretty much confirms that was the canon ending. Ready? I did not immediately start chasing me! But this was just a basic chase segment. Except at the end, I caused Freddy to disappear from reality using the mask, or I guess I caused myself to disappear from reality because Freddy couldn't kill me when I had the mask on. Next, a mini music man chases us down a vent, into more corridors and hallways, and I could not tell you where we are. I have no clue at this point. Suddenly, we're in Roxy's party garages, and Roxy herself is the last node for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why specifically Roxy is a node and none of the others are. We find Roxy under a vehicle, and I can't remember if I did that, but I feel like I did, and I'll just play this part through.
Remember correctly. It is on the 11th.
September 11th.
I remember because you are number 1.
Twice. You got it.
Cassie, what are you doing?
I'm gonna take your teeth out.
That kinda cute
Open
FR.
up! We did it. That was easy.
So sorry.
I love carrot cake.
Eat to snap her neck.
Happy birthday, Cassie.
Nulu.
Fox, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Woo! We did it! Now we can get the crap out of here. I hate this place. I think I was supposed to have a very different reaction to her apparent death. I just didn't care. Next, you go through a door that leads you down to the sinkhole that Gregory is apparently in. Hello? Oh my goodness, stop crying. She's going through like a traumatic moment.
Ready to die.
Just like, shut up, man. You go into an elevator that takes you further down, then travel into a cave in which you see some glowy mushrooms and a waterfall. For some reason, I didn't even question why this was even under the Pizzaplex in the first place. The reason this is down here has to do with some lore that was in the books, but I'm not gonna talk about that because I'm not in the mood for an aneurysm. You take a shower in a waterfall, walk through some more hallways, open a present with a Faz token in it? That's strange. Then you come across Candy Cadet? Thank you, I appreciate that.
I just realized that the chat is automatically text-to-speech.
Apparently throughout the entire game, there are Faz tokens you can collect to finish Candy Cadet's story. Candy Cadet being here isn't just some random choice though. If you remember, this sinkhole under the Pizzaplex is our pizzeria that we made in Pizzeria Simulator that burned down. And Candy Cadet, although burned, is still functional. His story is about a mother and a little boy that live in the woods. There was a monster whom the mom locked in a basement, and the monster mimicked the mother's lullaby to her son to lure the little boy to him. Foreshadowing! In the next room, you deactivate the security protocols, and the Vanny demon tries to attack you, but it is pulled back into this thing. You use the Faz wrench to break down a wall with a forklift, and you meet Gregory. Or so you thought.
You're not Gregory. What are you?
It's me! William
He's a
Afton!
robot.
Gregory.
Oh my gosh, another plot twist!
SUSSUS. OMG face with peeking eye. The mimic.
Oh! Roxy! You saved me! Another plot twist! Is that what the mimic is? Yes, Pastor Morgan. That is what the mimic is. So you remember the mimic, right? No? In the description, I'm going to link a video on the backstory of the Mimic, but I'm going to go over it a little bit right now. But basically, the Mimic is programmed to copy someone's voice and actions. So Edwin Murray created this Mimic thing for his son, and then his son died, so he beat up the Mimic because he was angry, and then the Mimic mimicked his violent actions upon himself, and so he started beating up everyone else. Yeah, that's basically it. So before the Mimic is able to kill us, Roxy defends our honor and attacks the Mimic. Didn't we just kill Roxy? The Mimic ends up chasing us into a cave with multiple little caverns as Gregory leads us through the so-called escape. It's an elevator that leads us to our death.
But we can't
Yeah,
risk
same.
being followed. I'm sorry.
Gregory?
Huh?
Ready to die.
That was the ending?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, that was stupid, wasn't it? People are theorizing that both Cassie and Roxy aren't dead yet. But yeah, this ending sucks. There's 2 other endings, and I only did 1 other. You basically just do the opposite of what Gregory says, and then you put on your mask and you see... Huh? What? Huh? That was the better ending? Well, this one sucked too! What is going on? The third ending is the scooper ending, which I didn't end up doing because I didn't know it existed. To get this one, you have to click on secret cameras in a few different chapters, and then in chapter 9, the mimic will show up in costume, which admittedly is very terrifying. And at the end of the caves, this time there will be an open door. You run through all the open doors till you get to the room with the button. The door will close and you can press that button. The mimic then jump scares you, still in costume, before a scooper takes out the mimic for you. This is decidedly the best ending in the game, which makes it especially annoying that it is a secret ending. And that's the game. I will admit, it's better than the main game. I had more fun while playing the DLC, and when I really wasn't having a good time, those segments usually didn't last long. It didn't have most of the stuff I hated about Security Breach, while adding some really cool stuff to the lore, as well as improving on gameplay. But what did you guys think of this game? Was it everything you wanted it to be, or was there something that you wish they had changed? Comment your opinions down below. And also, if you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe, I guess. Yeah, you don't have to do that. So, thanks for watching. Have a good day, have a good night, drink your water, go to bed, and don't die. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!